This will be out by the time the draft is over, but Jerry being Jerry.
It cannot possibly be worse than trading Luka. So, I mean, it's going to pale. No matter what it is, it's going to pale in comparison to what they're going through in Dallas.
Incredibly, somebody's hated more than Jerry Jones in Dallas
right now.
Yeah. Step into the Fieldhouse, your front row seat to legendary victories and untold stories. Hey, I'm your host, Lance Lunner, breaking down sports from the inside out, along with co-host Jimmy Lackey. It's more than just a game. It's the Fieldhouse Podcast.
Yeah, Jordan wore 45 for a while, and who was yours?
Well, Archie Griffin, obviously, I loved.
Yeah.
Big time. But Bob Gibson back in the day,
yeah.
Bob Gibson wore number 45.
Yep.
When you grew up in Colorado in the 60s, there was no Major League Baseball. Believe it or not, your closest teams, if you're a National League fan, was was St. Louis, and then Kansas City. Those were really the teams that you could get KOMX, believe it or not, all through the airways. But so there weren't a lot of teams, to choose from. So the Cardinals were kind of a Colorado Springs team.
Radio was the big thing back then too, because my dad loved the Cardinals. He grew up listening to them on the radio.
Yeah. They won the World Series and came to the Air Force Academy the next spring for like an exhibition. And I got all those autographs on this mitt. I still have the mitt of them. And when the national anthem was about to be announced, I might have told you the story, but I'm in this. It's just bleachers, wooden bleachers. It's this is the '60s. They didn't deck out college ballparks at all. But anyway, we have a special guest in the stands, Stan the Man Musial.
Really?
I happen to be sitting right next to him.
Oh, my.
So I got him to sign it. But this is the only mitt I had. Julian Javier, Bob Gibson, Ted Sizemore. I think Ted Sizemore was on that team. But Mel Daxville, these guys, you know what I mean? Lou Brock, of course. But
Lou Brock.
Yeah.
Golly.
Anyway, they're all on that. But it was my we didn't have money. It was my club.
Sure.
So they were all on there when I was playing Little League Baseball. Slowly but surely faded away.
Off, yeah.
All of them. But
Lou Brock, he was a base-stealing fool.
Yeah. So that was very cool. Yeah. But, that's kind of mine. Bob Gibson.
Those were good times. Dad went to coaching school in the early 70s down in Houston. It was actually down in the Galveston area. And we went to an Astros game in the old Astrodome back in the day, played the Braves. And, I remember I was in fourth grade. I remember this very vividly, and I think I've even talked about this before on our show, when we got cable in Dumas.
Yeah.
And there was four things I begged Mom and Dad for us to get that cable, because all we got was 3 extra channels out of the deal. It wasn't like you got all this plethora.
Yeah.
There was 3.
Yeah.
You got KTVT out of Dallas, you got WGN out of Chicago, and you got TBS out of Atlanta. Well, that gave me the Cubs, gave me the Braves, gave me the Rangers, and it gave me the Von Erichs on Saturday night at the sports arena in Dallas.
So you were set, man.
Oh, yeah. I was good to go.
Cubs were on in the afternoon.
Cubs day games. They didn't even have lights in the stadium.
Yeah, no, we working nights all my life at the Globe News. Basically, my shift would be 3 p.m. to midnight. You know what I mean?
You could have a whole story about the Cubs.
So you watched a lot of Cubs ball before you went in.
Yeah.
So
I got to go there once before Harry Carey finished his career. I got to see that one time. Went to a day game. That was fun.
I've never been to Wrigley. I wanted to go. I want to go to Dodger. I want to go to a lot of parks, but I heard Dodger Stadium is a dump.
Really?
Yeah. Even though they glorify it, I heard it's like, the traffic to get there is ridiculous. Then just getting around the park, the old school, really small walkways, things like that. I mean, if you go there after experiencing a new major league park, I heard it's not a good experience.
Wow. Unless
you're, you know what I mean?
God, for a storied franchise, you'd think a little different.
You may sit in traffic 3 to 4 hours.
Wow.
To get in there.
Yeah, in L.A., I would believe that. One of my very best friends, Willie Daughters, he and his wife Amy, when they got married in October, and their wedding anniversaries for I don't know how many years in a row, and they may still do it, but they went to a different NFL football stadium. Amy's the biggest football fanatic. She actually wrote for Bleacher Report for many years.
Very cool.
She got assigned to the Orange Bowl one year, had her own booth, had her own fax machine, had everything. She was writing for Bleacher Report. And but they went to a different NFL stadium every year. And I thought, man, that's a cool tradition, especially for a married couple, because that's not common.
So they get them all in?
I think they got a bunch of them in. I don't know if they got them all, but I've got pictures from several of them.
That's
that
cool.
They've been to.
Yeah, I like that idea. So Hey, let's go early in this one. Update on Rock Rose, man.
Well, I don't know that I have a tremendous amount update from last week, other than we had another construction meeting since our last podcast, and architects are wrapping up the design work. One of the big issues in the mix is some elevation issues that the engineers are running into. If you've seen our design, there's the one big area where all the soccer and flag football fields are going to be, and the way just the way the land sits out there, and the way the dirt has to be moved around. If you think of it in a rectangle, this corner here is going to be 10 feet higher than this corner here. The way they've got to lay the dirt out to get it to what we've asked for in terms of a grade. So the land will be flat for the fields, but in order to get the dirt work done, the dirt work's going to be higher, meaning there's a retaining wall in one corner that's going to be higher than over here. So when you start thinking about how you're going to fence that in, and you want your fence to go this way, you got to take into account that the retaining wall may slope until it gets down to a point where it's more level. And so, again, engineering terms that I don't understand everything, but I do. I can visualize all that, and I'm going, okay, now what is our fence going to look like? Because one of the things that we have advantages of out there with our fencing is to put advertising. We've got a lot of people wanting to advertise out this complex.
For sure.
And I've got to have space for that, and I've got to have a fence tall enough to keep the facility secure.
Yeah.
We also had, we had planned to put what they call permacast walls. If you've seen those XL booster stations have those rock walls around them, for sure on the south and west side, we were hoping to put those up to keep dirt out of the base of the turf, the prevailing southwest breezes on that big piece of turf. May have to make some changes to that, but there'll probably be a retaining wall all the way around it. And then you have to think about the ADA requirements to get, if there's a rise, if the parking lot's sitting here and the fields are going to be up here, we have to build the ramps according to ADA specifications so that someone in a wheelchair can get in.
Yeah.
It's just not. You drive by there and you look out there and you think, oh, that's just
flat.
It's flat.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at it real close, it's not. From Coulter to I-27, there's about a 20-foot difference.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed that.
Coulter sits about 20 foot higher than I-27.
Interesting. Yeah.
And the way to look at it, and you got to be careful, especially now with traffic and construction. But if you're coming from Canyon, as you get close to Sundown Lane overpass, look at the top of the overpass and look over at Coulter, and they're about the same.
Okay.
And so that overpass to the top is probably close to
20 feet.
20 feet.
Yeah, quite a bit.
And that'll show you the grade of where Coulter is, and then you start looking underneath that bridge, and that land drops down. That's when you see.
How much is that fence going to be?
I don't know. That's what
the fence alone is.
Well, there's a lot of concrete involved.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of ground to cover too.
Yeah, and so that's when we start talking about dirt work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is the good news is for us, we're not going to have to import dirt.
Yeah.
That was one of our big concerns because importing dirt's not cheap. Give you an example. The medical group that built the new facility out by the new Sam's on the west side of town, if you drive out there, there's 30,000 cubic yards of dirt, and they offered to let us have that dirt when we thought we were going to have to import dirt.
Right.
It would cost us about $200,000 to move that amount of dirt just over to south side of town.
That's crazy.
And so that gives you an idea about dirt work. And so when we found out we're going to be exporting dirt versus importing dirt, I was very relieved because now we're going to be moving dirt to a pile to be moved somewhere else for somebody else's use, and we're not going to have to be the one importing additional dirt.
Yeah.
So they'll move dirt pretty much basically from east to west to level it out, and then that's going to leave drop-offs, and it gets out of my wheelhouse after that.
Yeah, so anybody watching, that'll be slow at that point, but once it goes.
There's probably 3 to 4 months worth of dirt work.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But our plan, we're still on timeline. Our plan is, and I'm pushing hard right now because they opened the can of worms when they told me we might be able to move dirt in July. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's our target, and let's go. So
that'll be an exciting day.
I'm hoping here in the next week or so we might have another announcement.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. I don't count chickens before they're hatched,
Right.
but I have a good feeling about a request that we have out, and should hear something from it. What is today? 23rd. I should hear something from it within the next week.
That's cool.
So maybe, in a week.
It's going to be a great project once it's completed.
Yep.
For all the citizens of Amarillo, especially our youth. Yep. So that's the bottom line. Everybody just wants to see it done. You more than anybody.
We're a lot closer today than we were 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I was concerned 3 or 4 months ago with it's just stuff that nobody understands, and I can't explain it all other than there's processes.
Yeah.
And
I'm
not
and moving dirt's.
We're not control some of those processes.
I mean, moving dirt's all boring and all that, but it's necessary. So that'll be fun. Yep. It's gonna be a big, exciting day when first kids get out there and play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That'll be epic, I think.
I kind of get a kick out of.
You gonna have a flyover? You're gonna do all the big stuff.
I can tell you, Lance, in my head, I know what opening day.
I know how you are.
I know what opening day is going to look like, and I'll put it this way: there will be multiple drones in the air when it's time. My vision is probably on one of the big baseball fields. We'll have the opening ceremony where everybody will have place, kind of captive audience there. And then when it's time, we'll have teams assigned to every field on the complex. And when it's time, we'll say go, and everybody takes off to go play their game on their field at one time.
Wow.
And I'm going to have drones everywhere.
And have them run out to their fields, yeah.
And then,
that'd be cool.
That's my limited.
Got to have some serious tunes going on.
Big time. That's my limited vision, but, I've asked Brent McClure to get involved from Channel 10 and the Texas Panhandle Sports Network, simply because I want fiber laid everywhere so that we can put cameras up. You know how you see these youth games now, they'll have cameras behind the backstops, and if mom and dad or aunt and uncle or grandparents can't come, those games you can find them online. We're going to have that kind of functionality out there.
And there's a app you can buy for that.
You know what
I mean? So
a
lot of kids do that.
My biggest kick right now, and I'll just say it because it's kind of fun for me, is, I'll have a staff member come in every now and then, or somebody from the general public say, man, did you see what so-and-so wrote about y'all out there saying this is the biggest farce? And I said, you know what? They haven't come and sat across from the table with me to discuss it, so I don't take much credence in that.
Oh, yeah. You're the source.
But the day we get up there and all of us are up there getting to do a grand opening, we'll have the last laugh on that deal, and because it's going to happen.
I'm only joking with this, but make sure, any television GM in Amarillo doesn't get to do the program, because you're going to have weather at the beginning, Jimmy, weather in the middle, and weather at the end, okay? Even out there. So, no, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean?
Joke.
We get bombarded by weather. No weather out there that day. So, No, that's going to be I appreciate the update. Sure. Everybody does who's listening on here. We appreciate the honesty on this. Hey, just got a few things today for you. NFL draft is tomorrow. Obviously, we've had Jalen Conyers on here, the young man started out at West Texas over in Stinnett, helped them to a basketball state championship, then was at Groover a couple of years where the pandemic hit. They were almost on the court, as I understand.
Yep.
That got canceled, but he did lead Groover's football team to a state championship game, got to play in Jerry's World. So, but he's been in studio. He's a tight end, played for started out at OU, went to Arizona State, finished this last year at Texas Tech. Great guy. He's going to have a watch party in Amarillo. It's going to be exciting to see if he gets drafted or not. Even if he doesn't, he'll be a quick free agent pickup. I know he's anxious. There's some really good tight ends out there this year, but how cool is that going to be, a kid from Groover, Texas, possibly being drafted?
Well, if you haven't gone back, go to our fieldhousepodcast.org and watch his podcast with us. Yeah. What a great kid, and smart, and upbeat,
fun.
Understands the marketing side of it as well as the business side of it. Got a good head on his shoulders, was raised right. He should be one of the success stories that comes out of this draft.
Yeah.
I hope he gets picked in the first few rounds for sure.
Well, I think realistically he's looking at Saturday.
Yep.
Okay, round 5, 6, 7. So we'll see what happens.
He's coachable.
Well, and the other thing is he's not a locker room cancer.
No,
you know what I mean.
No,
so
he fits the other side. of that deal.
Yeah. But that's got to be exciting for him. I mean, And let's get real. You're that age. That's a big paycheck, man.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
just the signing bonus alone.
Yeah. So for anybody who gets drafted, it's just amazing. We're rooting for Jalen. My question on the draft is, and this was on the Dan Patrick Show, and I found it very interesting. He had Mel Kiper on, and I know Mel Kiper exasperates or exhausts, I should say, some people. But you got to realize when he first started this, no one was doing this. And now it's just commonplace. And now the draft is actually broadcast, things like that. You can talk to guys who were drafted in the 70s, 80s, even as late as the 90s. You know, I mean, they basically got a phone call to their house, sitting around with their mom and dad and family waiting. Where they call them in. Hey, these are the Colts are on the line. Cowboys are on the line, you know. It wasn't this big ordeal. Mel Kiper kind of made this the draft, and now the NFL makes probably $1 billion off of it.
Yeah.
Millions, realistically. The question for you today is, should Mel Kiper be in the NFL Hall of Fame? They have these broadcasters. They're kind of they have a title for it, and I should have looked it up before this, and I apologize for that. But who they put in, John Fincinda, the voice of the NFL, is in. Yeah. People who have brought something to the NFL unique and promoted it. And I think Mel Kiper, who is not liked by all NFL GMs by any means, and some bigwigs in the NFL don't like him, but I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Here would be my two questions. Has he hurt the game?
No, not even the least.
And has the NFL benefited?
Big time.
Those would be the top two criteria for me.
But I will say this. He was on with Dan Patrick, and Mel goes, "Oh, no way." And Dan said, "Yes way."
Yeah.
And he explained to him what that he is the draft, and he is the draft.
Yeah.
And but Mel was like, "No way. There's people that don't like me pretty high up in the NFL." But he said he was honored by it, but he said it's not going to happen. So, and he said he's really never thought about that. And if you heard the honesty in his voice, but when a guy like Dan Patrick, I mean, Dan is obviously made his name at ESPN and all that, but Patrick is pretty low key about like hyperbole. I mean, that's not his style. He's not promoting just to get views on his podcast and things like that. He's really hardcore about. Here's why, Mel. Here's why. You this is why you are a Hall of Famer.
I could hear that same conversation come from Scott Van Pelt.
He's on. I disagree with you on that. I'm sorry. Here's why. He's just on the train. He jumped on the train. That train was already running. Scott Van Pelt has done a great job with it.
No, I'm saying I could hear him complimenting Mel Kiper.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my bad.
I'm saying I could hear him saying, yes, Mel. Yes, Mel.
Yeah.
Because he's very positive in his interviews with people. And I could hear him being very supportive of that same. That's the conversation.
Yeah, I thought. No.
I agree. I agree with you. Yeah, he's company guy. No doubt about it. But I could hear him having that positive conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
With Kiper, because that's the kind of guy he is. He's a good interviewer.
I mean, the guy just started out basically making a booklet and sending it to people who wanted to know more about who could be drafted.
You and I know people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we do.
Yeah.
They just never got a break.
No, yeah, you're right. But I thought that was a very interesting. I hope Dan pursues it with his, his notoriety, his voice. I really hope he pursues this and makes kind of like, gets people involved, like maybe a little, voting group that says, hey, it's Mel's time.
Put a little pressure on him.
Yeah. All right, Jerry Jones, he said he has 2 substantial trades coming up for you Cowboy fans. You're shaking your head, Jimmy. Well, this will be out by the time the draft is over, but Jerry being Jerry.
It cannot possibly be worse than trading Luka. So, I mean, it's going to pale. No matter what it is, it's going to pale in comparison to what they're going through in Dallas.
Incredibly, somebody's hated more than Jerry Jones in Dallas
right now. I was talking to my friend Lance Maddox last night, and he said he got to go to the game where Luka came back to play.
Oh, wow.
And a friend of his took him. They were in a suite, and he said, I'm not lying. they'd go, "Hey, Mavs, let's make some noise," and they were going, "Fire Nico." The whole place, "Fire Nico." And he said they quit asking people to make noise because that's all they would say.
It was "Fire Nico."
It's "Fire Nico."
Yeah.
And so
Luka crying on the bench, and then
So back to your question, Jerry can't probably do any worse on any trade coming up.
Their draft picks aren't that bad.
No,
they really are.
What do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's got up his sleeve?
That's a great. I think he's in love with Travis Hunter. But you almost have to do a Herschel Walker type trade.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Which isn't wise at all. Yeah. You got to get.
That was a one-time deal.
One-time deal. But
and Jimmy Johnson.
I think he would
love
to trade up and get a Travis.
And Jimmy Johnson gets the credit for that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was all Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, totally. He was going all in. So yeah. Well, the thing with Jimmy Johnson, he arrives at the Cowboys, and I mean his Miami Hurricane team was faster than the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He goes, "We're too slow."
Well, and he had to fight the Landry syndrome and the whole.
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
They go
1 in 15.
1 in 15.
Yeah.
I
with
mean,
Troy Aikman.
Yeah, and then boom.
Yeah.
How about them Cowboys? And everybody forgot the past.
Cowboys pick number 12. I think it's important they do well.
Martin's retiring.
Yeah.
That's a big fill there.
Yeah, they've got some fills. You know what I mean? Like always, but. I'm not a huge draft guy. I'll watch a little bit of it, but it's just not my thing for some reason. I don't know why.
One of my favorite movies, though, is Draft Day.
Oh, wow, really?
I really like that show.
I've never watched it all the way through, that'll be my assignment.
You need to watch it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
They do a really good job of making it very realistic for a movie.
Okay.
I mean, they really do.
I'll do a movie.
Berman's in there.
No.
Commissioner up there. They make it look like it's real.
Movie review. My favorite draft of all time was during the pandemic when the NFL commissioner's sitting in his basement, and he's got that old school chair that all our grandfathers had, at one time in their life, and is sitting in it. You know what I mean? I love that draft. Old school. Oh
yeah, it's a big show now.
In the basement, man. It was one of my favorite. A couple more things for you. I'm not a huge NBA guy either. I appreciate it. I'm more college basketball oriented. Oklahoma City Thunder, though. Man. What if they go on and win this whole thing?
Well, did you see their game the other night?
Yeah. The last two games, I mean, they've just dominated, but they won by what, 50?
51, set an all-time record for the largest margin of victory.
What if the Thunder wins it? What is the national press going to do?
I don't know. They're going to have to put Oklahoma City on the map.
Yeah, no, it's not Boston. It's not L.A. It's not even Dallas. You know what I mean?
They're that good.
Yeah, they are that good.
I mean, 131-80.
I know.
Golly.
They won big last night, like 118-91 or something. So, but if they win it, I think people are going to freak out.
Yeah.
I will say this: Rayford Young, who is Trae Young's dad, who went to Pampa High School, now they live in Oklahoma City. Well, Norman, basically, but. He said going to, and anybody tells me that, he said going to the Thunder games, and he's been to all the arenas following his son, there's nothing like a packed Thunder crowd. Yeah,
we've got several friends in Elk City that go regularly, and well, they're a rabid fans.
College atmosphere, and the seats aren't as bad there. If you've ever been,
I haven't been to that facility.
Well, I mean, and I can't afford the low seats, obviously. Yeah. So I've gone a few times. You're up, and they're not great, but they're not terrible. Yeah. For that arena, but it's a college atmosphere.
Yeah,
it really is. They are in love with that team.
Our first director over in Elk City, Rick and his wife go pretty regularly. Rick and Donna go a lot to the Thunder games, and I know several others that do. But they're the real deal this go around. And you're right, from a national media standpoint,
they're gonna freak. Yeah.
But
freak out though. Thunder's coming your way, man. I hope they win it. I'm so rooting for them right now.
Oh, sure, I do too.
They'll have to play a little.
The Warriors don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
No, they made it.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Steph's throwing them up right now.
Okay.
Yeah, they made it.
Kim came in and told me they didn't. I said, "Are you sure?" I don't care. That tells you how much I keep up the NBA.
Speaking of Kim, we got to bring this up. Jimmy.
I was going to ask. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nope.
Ask the question.
I didn't get to go. We had to run a track meet Monday night.
Yeah, I was disappointed you weren't in the house.
I had to run a track meet.
Okay.
We had track meet at 6 o'clock that night.
All of us.
How was the wheelchair basketball game for Joe Chris and that bunch?
Absolutely got thrashed.
That's what she said. She said y'all sucked.
That's the word to put it. We sucked. And you know, having played it about 10 years, I've learned you just have to be patient because you're sitting in a chair, so you pause and think, okay, shoot this a little harder. And then for me personally, I had air balls, but we were down 10-0, maybe 5 minutes in, which is a lot, okay?
Yeah, it is.
Okay? And this was Street Toyota, and they had a couple of guys that were really good.
That's what she said.
And one of them took it so easy on us. So we lose 26-6, which is an absolute kicking. And they somehow all of a sudden we got a 4-point play somehow. So we really only scored 4 points. Okay, so whoever's running the clock, that's how bad we were, and that's how bad they felt for us. But real quick, shout out to Street Toyota. One of the guys could have scored 40 on us. You know what I mean?
She said.
He kind of took himself out of the game, just was casual about it. And but I will say this: it is so much fun.
I hated missing because their little marketing director is a friend of Hallie and Colton's, so she got to play, and Kim said Sydney was playing, but. You know, I saw y'all's picture after the game, and there was only one person in the whole deal. So those in our audience don't know it's the media team.
Right.
And so Lance puts it together, and you had Clint Brakebill out there. You had the guys from Channel 10 on the sports out there.
Zach Woodard and Preston Moore.
And then you had –
And then Maya even played, even though she was just doing a story. Yeah. So, yeah.
And then Lance's wife, and then Carolina from St. Mary's, and Kim.
And Accent West.
And Accent West. Oh, yeah. Carolina owns Accent West.
And then we also can't forget DJ Zell from Channel 7.
DJ was out there. There was only one girl in the mix that I didn't know. I knew everybody else in the picture. She was a darker-headed girl.
Yeah, she's on Channel 10.
Okay.
Channel 7, as a reporter.
Okay. That was the one I didn't know.
Yeah, she's there every
But I knew every one of you in the picture. But, yeah, you look good in your shirts. The yellow looked good.
Hey, the Sunray Bobcats. That's where Joe Chris Rodriguez, the CEO of One Chair at a Time. That's where he went. That's where he played his high school ball.
Yeah.
We're going to try to save those jerseys so he doesn't have to pay for them. Because any
looking.
money they spend on us is money wasted. Okay, I'm just telling you, it was sad. But we want to thank One Chair at a Time what they do. Bottom line is, here's an organization who not only emotionally helps young people who maybe were able-bodied and then went through an accident or something where they become in a chair and paralyzed. Let's tell it like it is. And, you know, at that time, Jimmy, you want to hide out. You're embarrassed. You lose your friends just to want to hang out. It's traumatic. And he tries to get them out in front of people. You're embarrassed. You're not your best right away in these chairs. And then you see what they can accomplish confidence-wise, public-wise, and most of all, just a chance to feel normal and compete. But these chairs, Tristan West, for instance, over at Caprock, he qualified down at regionals in the shot put, the 400, and the 100. Those were the three events down at the UIL state meet. His chair is a brand-new chair, $4,500.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not cheap, and they're giving them to him. Yep. You know what I mean? So shout out to One Chair at a Time. That's what the whole thing's about.
Yep.
Now, there's some really good hoopers in those chairs. Trust me.
I wonder if my friend Catherine Granger plays.
I have no idea.
I need to find out.
I have no idea.
She's a young lady that.
And here's the deal. One year they had, the reason I do the media team, and they, you know, the younger guys were like, well, you got to get guys that are going to win, you know. Let's get the WT, you know. One time, one of the guys who was in charge of it brought all WT basketball players. Joe Chris is like, nah, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
No, that's not what the whole spirit of the thing's about.
Yeah.
So, but Jimmy, it was embarrassing.
Kim said you got thrashed.
We got thrashed. So that
I hated missing. I'm sorry I didn't get to go, but we were.
Hey, let's end it on this on a high note though. West Texas softball, A&M softball, under Mike Mook.
Yep.
Michael Mook. He's going to be on my radio show tonight. But they're 48-2, ranked number 1. If you've ever seen him manage and coach, I mean, it's phenomenal. They have 7 of the 9 girls have started all 50 games for him in their lineup. You know what I mean? So, or I should say 7 of them have started all 50 games. This is something special going down at Kenny. Now, they've won national championships. I get it. But that program may right now have the best vibe of any event you go to in all of Amarillo. I'm just saying right now, when you show up there with the sod poodle struggling and not drawing like they used to, I'm going to get real here. When you go to a West Texas softball game, it may be the best vibe event, and then the product on the field is absolutely amazing.
Well,
these ladies are flat-out ball players.
Yeah, they're good, and our fan base is solid. You know, I don't get to make a lot of their games, and I follow them because Michael lives next door to my mother-in-law, and they help take care.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, they help take care of my mother-in-law, and
that's awesome.
I'm
glad to know that.
They take care of each other's dogs when they're out of town, and so they live right next door, and so we know them, and they're good people. And he's so quiet.
Yeah,
he's just so quiet. And
he's a numbers guy.
You
and him would get along great.
He is a big time numbers guy.
Yeah. The thing I love, and maybe Maddie could comment on this sometime, but it's cold here. Obviously, it's brutal weather. This cat has the long, like he could go up to the Iditarod in Alaska in it. Okay, it's long down to like his ankles, knees. He's got 2 styles of coat, but he is wrapped up like crazy. I love the coat. It's the best coat I've ever seen, but that's what he coaches in. And he's flat out admits it. I don't want to get cold. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Maddie's our resident softball player.
She played college ball, so yeah. But she, in a warmer client, smartly. You know what I mean? But, no, I just want to give him a shout-out.
You didn't ask me the question, but I had an answer for it today. Lance will ask me sometimes.
I got to ask.
What's the best thing?
I do need to. I blew that. What is the best thing that happened to you today?
I don't know that it happened, but this is what I thought if I could.
Okay.
We were coming out here, and Maddie was walking across the warehouse when I headed out here, and I thought, man, if I could just go back and be cool, Maddie, for a day, because Maddie's just cool.
She is cool.
Yeah. If I could just go back, then that would be the best part of my day is just being
Shake
cool.
your head and yes or no. Do you ever really get violently mad? Yeah, I would say so. You have that demeanor, and that I respect that so much.
I wouldn't want to be there if she did.
Maybe so, but you just don't seem like that's your thing. Like I react sometimes like, let's say let's call out Lowe's real quick. We ordered a simple dryer and a washer, okay?
Uh-oh.
No, real quick here. The washer comes, the dryer doesn't come with it. So we go down and say, hey, we understand these mix-ups, blah, blah, blah. The dryer is sitting in the back. Oh, but we got to put you on this schedule. 14 days later, the dryer shows up, okay? So I reacted at the Lowe's. When I walked out, I was a little embarrassed, you know what I mean? Like, so you're telling me that dryer is sitting right back there, and you can't deliver it to us, which we've paid for the dryer, okay? Not only did they move the dryer on to somebody else, I had to go back once they give that up. And when you get a new order, you have to buy a new dryer. So they take that off your credit card and put it on to the next. The lady was just doing what she was told, obviously. You know what I mean? But I'm like, do you realize what you're telling me? Okay? Does this make sense to you? That dryer is sitting right there, and you can't deliver it less than a mile away to my house, and I've got to reorder. Yes, I understand, sir. And so, but I would think you would keep your cool in that instance.
Maybe a little better.
Yeah, maybe a little better. I totally overreacted, okay? I didn't throw anything at her. I didn't cuss at her. Okay. But I'm just going to tell you, Maddie, that's what I'm just bringing her up. I think that she would handle that a lot. Here I'm a lot older. I should be able to take a deep breath, say, look, this person is just doing their job. I get that now. That person at the front is taking all the bullets, if you want to say.
They're the vent?
Yeah, they're the vent. And I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Anyway. Two things come to mind in that story.
Okay.
One, the Seinfeld episode where he goes to get his rental car and they didn't keep the reservation because they overbooked all the cars.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't think you understand how to keep the reservation. And the other one is I'm thinking, poor Rhonda. I could see her just ducking.
No, Rhonda. This is Lance on his own.
Oh, that's good, because if Rhonda had been there, I could see Bill Murray ducking out after he blew up the golf course in Caddyshack, and Rhonda just ducking her head and heading for the front door.
To top it off real quick, and I know you guys don't want to hear my problems, but when the Lowe's guy comes in, okay, or the delivery guy, whoever was that day, let's not call him out anymore. But when he comes in, he goes, "Oh, you have a washer. Why didn't the dryer come with it?" And I said, yeah. Hey, give me credit. I did not say a word. I said, yeah, that would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? That's all. I left it at that. So I didn't tell him the whole story.
We just decided to go ahead and get a new dryer, too.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Oh,
hey, you got anything else today, man?
No, that's a good way to end the story today. Holy smokes.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, thank you for all your patience with Rock Rose. We do appreciate it. We know it's going to get over the finish line, as people like to say eventually. Just be patient with that, and enjoy doing this today with you.
Yep, thanks for coming in.
All right, hey. We love doing the Fieldhouse Podcast. This was number 45. It's a production of the Kids Inc. Sports Network. And like I like to say, we'll see you when we see you.